How's it going over there?
Hello, this is Hobnob Creations, and I'm your host, Laurel. As you can see, we've got a toy custom in store for today. As part of a big Instagram dog collaboration, I made a merman for the 2020 Fairies vs. Mermaids challenge. To be exact, I'm making a merman. After a few sketches, I decided on this design. To use our base, we have this fellow here, which has been at the mercy of a Sharpie before I found him at the thrift store, and is already missing a foot. I'm sure he's fine with the forthcoming transformation, right? After getting those legs off and beheading the poor guy, I pulled out the acetone to get him nice and clean. Or at least as clean as I could manage. The Sharpie wasn't going anywhere, but we won't let that stop us since I'm already planning to change his skin color. Next step is getting the wire that will be the base of the tail secured. Snipping off the joints that were left over from the legs was not easy, and I had to use my Dremel to get the hole drilled through big enough for the wire I was using. Once that was done, I twisted it together securely and added an additional wire at the end for the fin. I'm using linen and yarn fluff to pad out the meat of the tail. Once I was happy with the shape and movement, it's time to get the fins sorted out. I have this small scrap of gold twill that looks like it'll be perfect. Snipping at the center, I push it over the wires and start to fold over the fabric to get that pretty layered effect. Now I'm going to do a quick running stitch along the wire and then get my gold thread to tack the folds down along the fin. Some snipping and shaping later, and it's done! The seam along the back isn't quite straight, but neither am I, so. Now that the final fabric is on, we can get the wire covered with Apoxie Sculpt. I'm trying to work the clay into the fabric to make it secure as I go. I'm also adding webbing to his hands with the leftover epoxy. This is my favorite sight in the morning. It's time to change that skin tone, so wrap him up toga style, and let's get started. To get the skin shifted to that teal green I decided on in my concept art, I wanted to try and use pastels. I thought to try out the pastel only technique this time and see how it goes. While that's happening, I'll show you how his head is doing. I left his original ears on to help fill out the webbed ones he'll be receiving, and used wire for strength, and then I shaped them. For the hair, I wanted to use hair wefts to save time. This is actually the hair from the jasmine head I used for Alexandria. The hair was so long that I was able to save the long strands without tangling them, and they're long enough that I can stagger the lengths and cover the whole head. So, snip, glue, and repeat, and get them all cleaned up. The head got pasteled as well, and I reunited the body and head so that I could begin the face up. Some pastel scraped off, and that's from me not heating up the head enough before squeezing it back on. Layers and layers of pastel turned my merman into an all-consuming light. But here's what he looks like for real. I am not always a patient person, so wading through layer after layer with only gradual increase was not easy for me. In retrospect, 2 more layers would have been worth the wait, but again, I was impatient to progress, and I really wanted to get to the face and hair. Painting the fin was fun with drying time, and I also glossed his eyes and left him to chill out. Some gold paint to his scales and freckles, and now it's time to get the hair placed. I have maybe a 10% idea of what I'm doing, but I was in the zone. Stages of hair include the balding rockstar, the toddler got hold of scissors cut, reverse mohawk, and finally, green Jesus. Dollightful's hot knife hack was absolutely essential to styling this mop, and I kept a mug of hot water nearby to reheat the knife as needed. Finally, the frill around the waist is all that's left to attach. Nidae is a cold water merman, enjoying the quiet depths of the dark ocean. His friends from the surface world often ask him to guide them through treacherous sea voyages, and he is only too happy to help. So, what do you think? Leave a comment down below about what you think of our new fish friend here, and let me know what kind of sea creatures are your favorite. Humpback whales are mine. There's so many different mermaids under this collab, go and check them out with the Fairies vs Mermaids tag. Subscribe if you feel like it, and thank you for watching the video. Remember that today is the best day to start a project. I'll see you again soon!